Hello. Hi, Issa.
Hi.
Hi. I'm grateful to be with you, and I'm excited for us to return to our conversations after
Yeah.
we had a little bit of a couple week break or a 3 week break. And so um, I think it's important that we're here together. And I'm uh, grateful to talk about the Guardian or the Nagi today. I had a couple of ideas, a couple of things that I was thinking about when I was thinking about the Nagi. I was thinking about, the Nagi. My mom told me that um, it is a spirit that has not had a human body, right? So it hasn't inhabited a body, but a, um, it's also a like a guardian spirit that protects you and talks to you and helps you um, and so when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about like care and like what does it mean to care for someone and what does it mean to love someone. And I'd written something. This is actually in my memoir. It's a little excerpt from my memoir. It's one of the poems, but about the Nagi, the guardian. Um, and it says, "There and here is something true. Creator lives in the human being. In these four aspects of the soul, there is only one guardian, your twin self who is traveling with you. I swore I saw you driving by, walking downtown in the window reflected next to me. This is how Creator sees us, a filament of life, a guardian spirit, a part of us, and our destiny strides at an angle to protect us from our designs. Captured artifacts and power, chimes, chants, entranced by future, insighted safety over dreams. Inside, you may know someone is with you, you cannot name. But we all have this animating spirit, this breath, a life we cannot wish or snuff out, an opulent bubble that surrounds a tree, stems inside an echo of need that can be met, a hallowed place within. In the distance, rain strides towards you, twice kissing you and touches your face, phosphorescent galaxy, glow of heart turned to light, cresting. Under, in between limbs, stretched spheres in brilliant early morning. And so I know when I've seen the spirits, I remember seeing the round spheres, and I see them pretty often. I saw one yesterday with someone that I was with, um, and so there's those guardians, but also there's like the guardians who are spirits who walk with us and talk with us and are healers. And so I just wanted to open with this idea of, there's this being with us that we cannot name, you know, who cares for us. And so I was just wondering about your thoughts and
You know, I really liked how you had twin self
oh yeah. Hmm.
because like we don't really think about it after we kind of get to know who our guidance is.
Hmm.
Then there's a lot of similarities. But then it also makes me wonder of, like my guidance. It's a long um she was once here before long before I was here.
Hmm.
And so it makes me it makes me think of like how you know from then to here, and we're obviously you have so many similarities within like the twin self, right? And how do they choose? Do they, oh, I want to be with Issa, you know? Or
That's so interesting. Yeah.
so that's where my mind's at, and it's like I can't I can't put them into words or into like a statement, but it makes me curious on how my guidance came
Mm,
to me or chose me. And the more that I get to know her, I she fills me in on a little more of her history or who she is, or and it's always something I went through, or you know uh or it's something I believe in that she helps me push through or guides me through that. um but then and then there's that, right?
mhm.
The spirits that, but then you also have, like the animal spirit that helps you too, but they it's an animal, right?
Right.
But it's still,
It's
that
like,
spirit within itself is still a guidance that is helping you. And
yeah, that,
you're a twin with that as well, like you connect and you still have
mhm.
some similarities of what that animal spirit has to offer too. So that's where my mind's at. And I wish I had words for it. Uh, but I don't. But I know as we keep talking, so more stuff's
Yeah,
gonna
we
pop
always
up.
like get there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's beautiful because it's like, you know, you and I have a sister relationship through our ceremonies, and we also have a friendship, and
Yeah.
so it's like a sister friend,
Yeah.
which is so beautiful. And I think that there's something about like that there the friendship, like the power of friendship and the quality of friendship, or the quality of a relative or a relation,
Right.
um, and so I think about when you were just talking about that, I was like, I got excited and I was like, oh yes, like that and like that. And um, because I think that really, what you're talking about the twin, the animal twin, and then we have this guardian. And I remember mom saying like sometimes we literally will see a doppelganger of ourselves, or that spirit might make itself look like us, or, because it's a protector, but also I think that it intervenes.
Yeah.
I really feel like I've been protected in my life. And I think about, the times where, things could have gone another way,
Right.
and they didn't go another way. And like just the miracle, like even I think about the two of us and the miracle it is that we're sitting here
Yeah.
with, our childhoods and how things were,
Right.
and how we made it here is fucking miracle. I mean,
Yeah.
um, and so there had to be some intervention on our parts, and um and I can just see that the spirit world, and how the spirit world has really taken care of us. And when I think about the guardians, like they must love us, like maybe they have a body, maybe they don't have a body, but
Right.
this intelligence, this incredible spiritual intelligence is caring for us even though it hasn't been embodied. So
Right.
I just think that's really interesting.
Hmm.
And you
It's
know,
kind of did you ever watch Res Dogs?
I just saw like the first two episodes. My friends were like, "You got to see it. You got to see it." And
So
it,
there's this episode in there, and so when you watch this episode and you watch what happens, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like I've always knew that, but now it's like a bigger connection because you actually seen it. You just you couldn't put it into words. You can only feel, right? With our guidance and stuff, we can only feel.
yeah,
And so this one of the actors is like praying, and then as she's praying, like it's just like a all these ancestors behind her, and it just gets getting bigger and bigger with all these spirits and stuff that keep coming while she's praying. And so then it makes me think of like um our guide team, there
yeah,
not
yeah,
just one, I'm sure there's so many that are how, how you said they're intervening and they're helping us and protecting us and doing all these things to help us through our journey on earth side here, so it's not just one, there's
Mm.
so many, and so many we don't know. It might be from so many generations, or within the bloodline or whatever it is. And um or I would like to think that anyway. But it also makes me wonder too, like, when it's my time, onto the other side, like, am I gonna be the one where it's like, do I get to choose? You know, like,
Oh,
I want to help guide, or whatever it is.
yeah. Like what kind of ancestor am I going to be? And
Yeah,
where I get to, be a guidance system for someone in a way that feels good to me as an ancestor and good to them
right.
as a descendant. And that's powerful. That's a,
Because the connection that I have with one of my guidance, it's like, if it feels like she's a part of me. So then it makes me want to be that for someone else
yeah,
when that time comes. And so then it's even a learning experience of not only here on earth side, but you're also preparing yourself on the spirit side.
I love that. Ursa, preparing myself for the spirit side on the
Yeah.
earth side. I love that. That's so good. And it's so powerful. In this book, All About Love, this is by Bell Hooks, New Visions. But there's a little paragraph here that I was thinking of when we were thinking about this. When I was thinking about the Nuggie and the Guardians, and that I wanted to share. But Issa, I'm also, as you were talking, it was like I remembered my Barbara mom. My Barbara means Adam's mom. Uh, my adoptive mom, she told me about that your guides, like people talk about their guides and their spirit guides, and she said, "Oh, your guides are like spirits that are interested in what you're doing. So they'll come around and they'll be like, oh, that looks really interesting. I want to be involved
Yeah.
in what that person is doing." And so, you know, one of my guides I met like a very long time ago in an attic, and when I was 10 years old or something, and she's been with me ever since. You know, and then there's a couple of other guides. I don't know if they've ever had a body. They
Right.
may be nuggy. I've talked with them about it, and they've always said, "Oh, we're just showing you ourselves in a way that's comfortable for you, so you will be comfortable with how we look."
Right.
So it's just, and I think it's just very generous of this. I think that the spirit world is very generous and kind to us and like patient with us
Right.
about how they're seen. And I mean, she like dresses in a 1920s like mohair outfit and with a little hat, and he wears like this whole other kind of outfit. It's really sweet how they're just showing up in this very kind of normal everyday dress, and he is wearing more of like a different outfit. But
Right.
it's just interesting, that they're loving us.
Right.
Um, so this says, "I awakened." This is on page 10 from the preface, not the introduction, the preface. It says, "I awakened from my trance state and was stunned to find the world I was living in, the world of the present, was no longer a world open to love. And I noticed that all around me, I heard testimony that lovelessness had become the order of the day. I feel our nations turning away from love as intensely as I felt love's abandonment in my girlhood. Turning away, we risk moving into a wilderness of spirit so intense we may never find our way home again. I write of love to bear witness both to the danger in this movement and to call for a return to love. Redeemed and restored, love returns us to the promise of everlasting life. When we love, we can let our hearts speak."
Oh, I like that.
I think it's curious that she uses wilderness of spirit, so intense. And so I think that, when we're talking about like this kind of human, like not turning toward love, but kind of turning away from love, I mean, I think about how much those guides, those guardians love us,
Yeah.
like not only are they interested, but like to build a relationship with the spirit world means that you create a friendship,
Right.
that you become friends, and that friendship has meaning, and that friendship requires time and energy, and you think about each other and you learn about each other, and so uh, and who you are and what you like and don't like, and so I was curious about, what do you think that we can do to, or what do you think is missing for us around connecting to those guardians, or what do you think we could explore in order to reconnect to the guardians who are innate for all of us, that all cultures really uh,
Right.
speak of the guardian spirit for people,
Yeah.
or angels or ancestors, Elohim.
You know, um, how you said the spirit, how you have that friendship, that connection. I feel like I feel like our guides know us before we know them, because sometimes
Seems to me.
it may, we don't really have an answer or which direction we're going within life.
Mhm.
And that's when they intervene and they know what's best. We don't
Mm,
know what's best, we might think we do, but we don't.
right.
Um, and sometimes they have to let us fall. And could you imagine how
Oh.
they are on the other side, not wanting us to fall, but we have to learn by falling sometimes. And I think by having that awareness of when we're falling or when we hit rock bottom, you didn't get there by yourself.
Yeah, for
You got
sure.
there with your guides. They were intervening so many times, and they had to let you fall so
Mm,
that way you're able to pick yourself up. But they're there to help you stand up. So I think having awareness of those moments of hard times, the struggles, the challenges,
mm,
is when that's when the connection is going to be more powerful.
mhm,
And to form that connection is just acknowledging where you're at in
mhm.
that situation or that challenge or that struggle. And it's not even that. Sometimes, it might even be with like our house situation. Sometimes we're not in control of that, right? Sometimes we are, but sometimes we aren't. And we have to be aware of that too, and just acknowledge what's happening. And we can't fix everything. We're not able to fix everything. But with prayer and having that connection with your guide, I think that's what helps us even form a stronger bond with the guides or whoever is your person, you know? And I say person because I have all kinds of helpers,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And I even think having that communication with them, um, calling on them, just how we're talking back and forth, you're able to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And they like, I mean, connection is, well, I think also like there's a little bit of a, I don't want to say attunement, but I kind of want to say attunement, like like that there's a sensitivity that we're being sensitive to them, and
Right.
and I think that, one of the real issues we're running into um, is that we're not really attuning or being sensitive to the other realm, or,
Yeah.
we don't, it's just like everybody's kind of, we're all being medicated by given, things to stop us from feeling and being sensitive. And
Right.
so I would just wonder if we could allow ourselves that emotional spaciousness to be sensitive and to kind of
Yeah.
rest with the mystery in a different way, or to make contact with those spirits and helpers in a different way. And because they're trying to help us, it's just people aren't,
Listening.
we need to pause and listen to them,
Yeah.
you know.
I think another thing is too is just to be still and silent.
Mhm.
Um, because when you're still and silent, there's so much things that come
Mm.
up in your wandering mind or whatever it is. But I think once you commit to being still and silent, you're allowing that openness for your guides or persons to come through to communicate.
Mm.
I think even just being present too, because I know that we just put our head down and we just go with whatever routine it is. And we're not able to
Yeah,
see, listen, feel, you know, and then
we
we're not
can't.
even living at that point.
Yeah, yeah, we can't live. We're not taking care of ourselves or each other. Um, what you're saying was inspiring me. Is that around, like, one of the things Bell Hooks talks about in the book that I was reading out of the All About Love book was just how do we, caretaking is different than taking care of someone is different than loving them.
Yeah,
Some of us know all about being taken care of, but we don't really know about being loved or having loving relationships.
right.
So, so I think I was really appreciating what she was talking about in her book about caretaking and loving and what's the difference. And I think our guides are doing both for us. Like, I feel so loved by my guide, even though, she's also very, like, matter of fact, and
Mm.
but she's not only is she taking care of me, but she's loving me. So I think that there's, like, some kind of um, work we're being asked to do around that. And or how can we, what is the difference,
Yeah,
and how can we begin to, like, be a nug I mean, we can't be a nuggie because we have bodies, but how to be a guardian for the spiritual world, or, for that other side. How can we
yeah.
take care of that other side the same way it's caring for us? So I know I just put three questions in one, but, what are some ways we can do that?
In that, the last question of how can we caretake for them?
Mhm.
I think that just us by communicating and asking what their needs are, because they don't need much, right? They
Yeah.
never ask for much. It's always, an offering of some sort or
Mm.
just acknowledging being within nature or, just something small. And I think providing those moments for them.
One of the things I tell my students in the first year is, like, okay, so you're at a party, and only one person can hear you. Who are you going to talk to? It's just like, but everyone can feel and hear and see on some level. What we all
Yeah.
have that connection with the mystery. Like, everyone has numinous experiences. So I just think about that. I think about that, and I wonder, like, and I love what you're saying about be in a conversation,
Yeah.
what they need. And and when I was just feeling into that after you said that, they were like, talk to us.
Yeah.
So
And like, I'll be going down the road and I'll be just having full on blown conversations with whatever it is,
oh yeah, the mystery.
yeah, and they actually like communicate back, and sometimes you're like, is this real? Like, is it real? And then it's like, well, yeah, it's real. Like you
It
get
is.
those answers back and it's like, wow.
Oh yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's just you have to have
Mm,
faith in having that, or allowing that, just being open to it, allowing it. And sometimes you may feel a little crazy, but
mm.
I think that's what makes it fun. Like having that,
I love
that
that. Like,
connection,
woo, this
it's
is
like
great.
that.
Yeah, good crazy, crazy wild, like
Yeah.
positive. Crazy is a positive, which it is. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I
And
love it.
sometimes like even I'll be by people or whatever, and I'll get like a scared feeling, or I know someone's there, or something, and I'll just be like, don't scare me, because I'm gonna scream. I like make a joke out of it, and then it's like, and then it's
Oh, this
okay, like
is
it's fine, then it's like, okay, she knows we're here, or
totally like, yeah, please. Yeah, just like, I know you're there. It's all
yeah.
good. You're golden and you be there and I'm listening and we're together and it's all good. Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, that's very, very sweet. And
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And
go ahead, love.
I just want to share a a little story that I just, with the guides. Um, a couple nights ago, I was like, man, I need some fresh air, and it was getting dark out, and I don't like looking outside when it's super dark because I don't want to see nothing I don't want to see. But I peeked my head out, and I was just like breathing in the crisp air, and um, I heard the owl. So I was just like, thank you. And I was just talking out loud, you know. It's like,
Oh,
thank you for hearing my prayers. Um, I need you right now. Um, and a thought came into my mind of go to the back of the house so you
mm,
can see if it's on its tree. So I
mm,
go to the back and I'm like looking and I don't see it on its tree. I was like, what? So I'm just looking around and um into the canyon, and it comes around the house. And this is like the second time it's come super, super close. And it just is like screeching. And it's just like flying right in front of me. And it goes and it lands on that tree that it was, that it was on, that it sits on. And I thought it was probably trying to get my attention in the front of the yard. But then
mm.
it, once I went to the back, it knew where I was going, and it caught my attention, and it went to where like where I thought it was going to be. And, I was just again thanking it, and
Mm.
I knew that my answers were my prayers are being answered, and it was just talking back.
I
And yeah, so it's like they show themselves, they communicate, they hear you. Sometimes you may not understand what they're saying, but they're acknowledging that they hear you and you hear them.
and they're loving you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And
Wow. So that's so important.
yeah, I was just like, okay, like
Yeah.
everything's gonna be good. Like that's what I needed to see.
Mhm.
Everything's gonna be okay. And I think even like before, if I wasn't so connected with the unknown, the mystery, whatever,
I love
I
that.
would have
Yeah.
been like, oh, I would have been freaking out and just I've been there.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I appreciate all that is out there that the unknown has for us.
Yeah.
We can't just have our head down and going for whatever it is. And we got to see what's really around us and what we feel and what we see and what we hear. I think we have a perspective on life of, you have to make money and you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's kind of like all these things to make you happy. And it's like that simple thing of my prayer being answered. That was the most, that was, I was very happy, because it was like I was connected at that moment with God or the higher power.
Yeah.
And he told me, he gave me that answer. He gave me that sign.
You're going to be, it's time to be at
And
peace.
yeah.
And I think even greater than happiness is that peace that
Yeah.
we were talking about. It was just like, oh, a deep peace
Mm-hmm.
for me, and just a knowing,
Right.
yeah, that knowing and the power of that knowing. They can only come from those moments like that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Right. Right.
Mm, so beautiful.
Yeah. So I encourage everybody to connect with your guidance,
Mm,
and everyone got one
yeah,
because you made it this far.
miracle of
Yeah.
miracles.
You
Right?
made it this far, and it's like you had the help of spirit world.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday, to Michelle, who does our web design, and she was just saying, oh, I just feel like I'm so lucky to be where I am and to not be in a place that's at war, to not be in a place where, you know, that's having some of those difficulties, and just to be in the gratitude of
Right.
shelter and home and food and humans we love and connections, and that the miracle of that, and that, yeah, so, and to pray that we can all be listening to the guidance, that's
Mm-hmm.
the guidance that's for the good,
Right.
that, that there's someone who's guarding what is for the good of all, and not
Mm-hmm.
just because I know people also have guidance to do things that are not good, true, and
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so how to listen to the right guidance. And so
Right.
I always tell my students, like, what my mentor told me, Angela Sarian told me, she said, it has to be neutral or positive. And if the guidance is neutral or positive, then you're talking to a spirit that is, going to take things in a more positive, beneficial, and in a healing direction.
Right.
Um, because there has to be that love and that care of one another that our guardians have. And so, do you have anything you want to say in closing?
No, I just like been thinking about how I mentioned how I mentioned of our guidance knows us before we know them, and they know where we're going, and whatever, and just how you said there is guidance that is not always good. And I just like seen my guidance like, not again, it's like and I
Oh
literally seen like, and I'm just like,
no. Oh my
I'll
God.
do better. I'm so sorry.
You're like, oh, you're just wearing us out. You're just wearing us
Right. That's what I'm saying.
out. Oh no. Oh,
Oh man. But even through all of that, not again moments, they still love you, you know,
yeah.
and they still are there to help. And um, so yeah. Don't have your guidance be not again.
Yeah, hearing them, seeing them, being with them. Mm. Beautiful, sister. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is from Prayers for Healing, and This is a book, 365 Blessings, Poems, and Meditations from Around the World, edited by Maggie Oman, introduction by the Dalai Lama, and forward by Larry Dossey. But I just wanted to read a few lines here. We pray for the power to be gentle, the strength to be forgiving, the patience to be understanding, and the endurance to accept the consequences to holding to what we believe to be right. May we put our trust in the power of good to overcome evil and the power of love to overcome hatred. We pray for the vision to see and the faith to believe in a world emancipated from violence, a new world where fear shall no longer lead human beings to commit injustice, nor selfishness make them bring suffering to others. Help us to devote our whole life and thought and energy to the task of making peace, praying always for the inspiration and power to fulfill the destiny for which we were, and I'm going to say all created, and to fulfill the destiny for which we were all created. Adapted prayer from Week of Prayer for World Peace.
Mm.
It's page 184. And so may we know peace, may we create peace, may we pray for peace, and may our guardians guide us to peace.
Thank you.
I love you so much,
Love you too.
and I will look forward next week. We're going to be doing the human. So I'm looking forward. That is our last in this particular series, and then Issa and I will be starting another series in November after this one. So, all right, I'll talk to you soon, sister.
Yes.
Mm.